Hello, my name is Carl Surrey, and this is a video tutorial for two Facebook groups. One I run called Fans of Serif Software, and another one called Affinity Designer and Photo Group. The last video I made was called Symbols and Groups, and that was an adaptation of a video that had been posted on the Affinity and Photo Groups page. But it had been a video with no sound or written commentary, so some people were struggling to sort of follow what the person who had made it, which was a Rich Crow, were struggling to follow some of the things that he did. So someone asked me to sort of have a look at it and see if I could sort of work out what was going on, and that was the basis of the video that I made previously. And I will add a link to that video in the description for this video. But since making that video, I've sort of been looking at it again, and I've had some advice on some other part which I will come to a bit later. So I thought I would take a sort of second look at it and see if I can sort of speed up or improve the process. That'll be the first part of this video. The second part of this video is one of the members of the, in fact I think he actually runs the Affinity Designer and Photo Group, William Maybe, added this picture using like the same process of interlocking the rings and sort of add in a reflection. So I thought I'd sort of give that a go and see if I can sort of recreate this. It's not going to be the same sort of colour designs here because I don't have these styles, and I'd be quite interested as to how he did this, but that is for a later video. So that would be the second part of this video I'm making now. So first, coming back to updating or re-looking at the first video I made, and just to quickly recap, I'm going to just quickly do it again, but not the whole video, just part of it. And I'm also going to improve it, because before what I did was I made two circles, one bigger than the other, and then sort of we use the intersect options to cut out the middle one. Now what is quicker is to use the donut tool, and if I hold down the shift key it will keep its proportions. Go about there, and then I can just alter the size of the inner circle, and that's the sort of ring made quite easily. And then it's just a case of picking a colour. So we go for a red, come to the move tool, hold down the control key and just click and drag it out a copy. So then I just need to make that a second colour. And it is at this point where in the video these two layers were made into symbols, and the symbols menu by default is not visible, but you can make it visible by going to Views, Studio, and put a tick next to Symbols. Now I've have mine over here at the moment, but by default it should open down here. So what I'll do is I'll just click and drag this and put it where I think, if I remember rightly, I think it should be. So you just need to highlight one of these layers, click on Create, and it will make a symbol of that. And as you can see from this layer, the actual donut is a child layer of this symbol layer above. So I just need to repeat the process for the red circle. Just click on Create. So then we have those two circles. So the next thing as part of the original video is to sort of cut out a section of this and blue circle and put it behind the red circle so they look like they're interlocking. And this was done by drawing a circle. I'll just draw it down here, over here for ease of use. Just draw a quick circle, and you want to make this no color, and the no color option is this red and white circle up here. So no color is the foreground, and as you can see, this is now blank. So if I just click on the move tool, move this over where these two layers intersect, and let me just quickly move this layer to the top. Not that it necessarily matters, but I'll move it to the top so you can see easier the different layers. So that was your top, this new circle layer, the ellipse. In the original video that Rich Crow made, he sort of quickly clicked on one of the circles and then clicked on the top layer, and it made them look interlocked. And I tried everything I could to work out how I was doing it, but I couldn't. So what I did was I highlighted, like the red layer in this case, I duplicated it, and I then clicked and dragged that layer to make it a child of the layer, the ellipse layer. So as you can see, that red circle now looks like it is going above the blue one, interlocking them. Let me just press Ctrl and Z to get rid of that. Now this is the point where I've been told how this was done, and it's done using copy and paste into. Now you can do this either from the menu up here, and copy is Ctrl and C, and paste inside is Ctrl, Alt and V. So what Rich Crow must have done was he clicked on that layer, then pressed Ctrl and C to copy it, then clicked on the ellipse layer and pressed Ctrl, Alt and V, and that made a lot easier. So it's a lot quicker doing, if you know the keyboard shortcuts, just to click on the layer, copy it, come up to the ellipse layer and Ctrl, Alt and V to paste inside. Or you could do like I did and just copy the circle, duplicate the circle layer and move it up and make it a child of the ellipse layer. It has the same effect. So that is quickly how that part worked. So I then wanted to look at why these were made into symbols, because I wasn't 100% certain whether it was a necessary thing. Because if you look at the help file for symbols, it says a symbol is an intelligent object that can be placed repeatedly on a document. Editing any one of these symbols on the page will automatically and instantly update all instances of that symbol. Now, if I had other circles and I'm interlocking them, they're different circles, and I'm not quite certain how them being symbols would make any difference. So I thought I'd try it without making them into symbols. So I'll just quickly make a couple more. I forgot to press the shift key to keep it in proportion. There we go. Change the size. Have different colours this time. Come to the move tool. Hold down Control key and move it over to there. change the color to that, and then I'll just draw a quick ellipse, make it a no color, come to the move tool, put that over the intersection like that, and then I will click on the bottom layer, press Ctrl and C to copy, come to the top layer, Ctrl Alt and V to paste inside, and as you can see it does the same thing but without having to make those into symbols. So if you're I mean, maybe it might make a difference if you're going to be doing other things to these circles and what have you, but as far as I can see, the making them into symbols is rather a pointless exercise, because it is not needed, because it works without making them into symbols. But maybe Rich Crow knows more about symbols than I do. I've never really looked into them, and like I said, maybe later on down the line, if you're doing extra editing, that may sort of become more of an issue. So that is my quick look at improving the first video, in the sense of using the donut tool to make the circles rather than making two individual circles and joining them together, and not making them into symbols, just using them as regular layers, and still doing the same process to add that section into the ellipse, either by using the keyboard shortcuts or by, like I did originally, copying the particular layer and moving it into the ellipse layer. So this is the end of sort of part one, and I'm just going to sort of reset things and come back and have a look at trying to copy my best copy version of this type of image. So I will be back in a little while. Okay, I've closed some unwanted windows and I've opened up this image, a quick image that I made, which has this sort of gradient halfway up the page, and this is where I'm going to make the circles and hopefully add a reflection. Right, so the first thing we need to do is start drawing our circle. So again, I'll come to the donut tool and hold down the shift key and draw the first circle. I can make this a bit bigger now. Alter the inside circle, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly, I'm not going to colour these ones just yet. I'm just going to hold down, come to the move tool, hold down the control key, make a copy of that, and then hold down the control key and make another copy, and just by eye keeping those sort of shapes the same size. Let me just bring that back slightly. I think that's a bit better. Yes. So we have the three donuts there, and what I'm going to do now is to add a style to each of these three circles, and the styles tab is over here, next to layers, effects, and then it's styles. And by default you have these basic styles here, so you can just click on one and it will change to that particular style. Now I have downloaded quite a few free ones, mainly from the Affinity forums run by Serif, because people post various things, styles and brushes and what have you. And one of the ones I got was where is it? Oh, wild animals, which just is various animal skins. So I'm going to make this one zebra. Come back to the layers, select the next circle, and we'll go with giraffe on that one. And then the last circle, what should we go with? Let's go with tiger. Probably a bit too similar to the giraffe. That's a bit better. It is a bit more different. Right. So I can come back to the layers panel, and then I'm just going to draw a quick ellipse. And like I said before, you don't necessarily have to do it directly where you want it straight away. I'm just going to draw it down here and then move it to where I want it. And what I really should have done is put this at the top like that. I keep forgetting to do that. And then make that no color so you can see better where you're positioning it, and like so. So it is the tiger one that I want to come above the giraffe one. So this is the tiger one. So I will press Control and C to copy it, come to the ellipse, press Control, Alt and V, and you can see the tiger circle is now above the giraffe circle there, but under it there. So now we're going to repeat that process. So I'll just draw another ellipse, and this time I'll draw it up here, and no color is already selected, so I can come to the move tool, and I'm just going to put it over that one. So this time I want the giraffe one to be over the zebra one, so I'm going to highlight the middle ring, press Control and C, click on the ellipse layer, press Control, Alt and V. So there you can see all those three rings now look like they are interlocked. Now before I move on from this, I just want to click on this layer here, and what I want to do is to add a little bit more of effects to this, because we already have the effects logo here because we use the styles, but you can also add other effects. So if I click on this FX button down here, it will open up the effects panel, and as you can see 3D is already selected because that is part of that style, but you can sort of add some other things if you so wish. If I come to the bevels, add a tick in the bevels, you can sort of increase things, you know, some of the options here. We could go with emboss, for example, and just change some of the effects, but I will take that off. But there are other things that you could do, like you could add an outline to that particular layer. Yeah, and things like that. But obviously it wouldn't look as good where these are interlocked. But I just wanted to point out that you could add more effects if you wanted, rather than just sticking with what it is set at. So let me just close this. So I haven't actually added any extra effects. I just wanted to point out to you that you could do if you so wished. Right. So what I'm going to do now is we need to make a reflection of this. So at the moment I have the bottom donut layer highlighted, and I will hold down the shift key and I will click on the top layer, and that will select all of those layers, and then I can just right click and click group. So now these are all joined, not just visually but literally. And so if I move this around, all of them will be moved together. So I'm just going to put it about there. It gives me a bit of room for doing the reflection. And once I have that where I want it, I'm just going to right click and you can use duplicate, or you can just do Control and J, and then I'm just going to come up to these 4 buttons up the top here and flip vertically, and as we're still on the move tool, I'm going to move those down. So, just so they're just about touching, and I've got snapping on, so the snapping lines will help you line this up better, because I've got the green lines at either end, so I know that that is in the same position. So there we have the start of a reflection. So what I want to do now is I want to sort of just fade this away slightly, so it will sort of blend in with the gradient in the background. And for that, I'm going to come away from the draw persona and click on the pixel persona, which will give me the eraser brush tool. And at the moment I've got it set on 100% opacity, a hardness of 0, and and also make sure you've got the right layer highlighted. So I'm just going to use this at 100% initially, just to go away from the edge a bit. I'm then going to reduce the opacity of the brush down to about 50%-ish roughly, and just do a little bit more. And then reduce it down a bit more, and just do a few clicks to sort of help make that look like that is disappearing into the lower part of the picture. And then maybe just lower the opacity a little bit more. Like so. Right, so I'm going to leave that like that in a moment, but then I'm also going to lower the overall opacity of the layer and just around let's try 40%. So hopefully that now looks more like a reflection of the layers above, the circles above, I should say. I mean, you could continue to sort of erase some more of this reflection side. Right, so once you're happy with your finished image, you can then export it and save it, but make sure you save it under a new name, because that way you preserve the old images that you may be using. It's always best to save or export with a new name. So hopefully this will this video will help explain slight areas where I went wrong in the first video, and also teach you something new, hopefully, about adding a reflection of something like this. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.